Welcome to the Mining Pulse, checking the heartbeat of African mining. Every week we gather the specialists, run the diagnostics, and give you the market intelligence you need. What's running hot? What's flatlining? What are the vital signs telling us?
Today we're joined by Mosa Mabuza, CEO for the Council of Geoscience, South Africa's national geoscience agency, and the custodian of the country's subsurface data. With a career spanning resource regulation, public sector leadership, and science-based policy, Mosa is at the forefront of translating geoscience intelligence into economic opportunity for the continent. So Mosa, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Mosa, the custodian of South Africa's subsurface resources is quite a responsibility.
It is indeed.
How do you handle that?
I'm blessed with incredible men and women who are behind this organization. I would argue that I come into an organization that has existed for an extended period of time. I salute the work that our forebears did. I feel we are standing on the shoulders of geological giants.
Great.
Those doppies have done a fantastic job.
When was it
on
started?
horseback. So after the creation of the Union of South Africa in 1910, there was a consolidation of the Cape Colony Geological Survey, the Transvaal, and the Natal in 1912.
Wow.
So
it goes way back before you.
Way before I could think. So, in fact, we pulled some of the reports that the geos did in the early 1900s that led to the discovery of the Mpumalanga coal fields. And it was beautiful to see the role and contribution of geology in the country's development. And I was looking at it through the prism of energy security. And the letter that the head of geology at the time wrote to the minister was, our energy path is going to be sustainable going forward.
Wow.
And it places that emphasis that geology is the pathfinder for development. So, but going back to your question is, that job is an incredible responsibility for the country. You need to have the right set of skills. And we are an almost 500 strong men and women, 40% of them scientists. Wow. We are growing and trying to get that ratio to 70-30. 70% scientists and 30% support.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you've got good support.
Of good support. More can be better. I say to them, I have a dream of having 5,000 more geoscientists. I visit other parts of the world. I've engaged with the Canadians, Australians, Chinese, Japanese, Botswana. I was in Botswana earlier this week, and other countries. And I'm finding that increasingly nations are beginning to appreciate the value of geology. And so we were not wrong when we coined our mantra that geoscience is the fulcrum for human development.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And when you say you're standing on the shoulders of giants,
Yes.
Those old people were clever. Eh?
They were smart. They were resilient.
If we think about what we have at our disposal today in terms of technology and computers and everything that we have, all the sensors and the satielites and the things that we have access to.
They didn't have any of that.
They had none of that.
They did this on horseback.
Incredible.
And the little pack, and they went out for months in the middle of the bush, sleeping in tents and so on. Of course, in the modern geology, there's a lot of armchair
Geology. Armchair exploration.
Armchair explorations. But I encourage my team, you must be out there, and we'll make it a little bit comfortable. And, but my team, I'm very proud of my team.
So, Mosa, you've given us a lot of information already and the work that your teams are doing.
Right.
But maybe for the person on the outside, what is it really that you and your teams do at the Council of Geoscience?
So, established, as I said, for the Republic in 1912, we were then the Geological Survey of South Africa, the GSSA. In our current form, we were established in 1993 by legislation to be the custodian of geological data, all things geological. So we do geological mapping, we collect the data ourselves, but also we are the custodian of data collected by others. So if you have any program that has collection of geology, if you have a prospecting right and you collect in geology, you are required by law to submit that data to the Council for Geoscience. And therefore we have a responsibility to curate that data, and we have to be sensitive to the commercial sensitivities while your project is active. So in keeping the data, we have a data management policy. There's data that we make public, and there's data that we ring-fence and hold confidential for a period. So when your prospecting right lapses, for instance, that set of data would have lost its commercial sensitivity. So then the idea is that if someone else comes later to apply in the same area you have operated, it would be easier and faster and cheaper if they can access that data. And with data, it depends on who's looking at it. So somebody looks at the data today and they don't discover anything. You come tomorrow, you look at that data with a different lens, and you make a big discovery. There are many stories of geologists and explorers who were in areas before, and they came and they worked and camped on site of what subsequently became world-class mines. And they didn't discover that. They missed it, yes. I mean, one of those is a Venetia diamond mine.
Wow.
The guy was looking for it. I think he was looking for copper. And on his tent, he used boulders of kimberlite. And he used to have one that every time he woke up, he relieved himself by the diamond powder. And in geological world, he was teased a little bit. He was called Mr. Piss on it.
Lovely. Brilliant, Mr. Piss on it. So it's safe to say the CGS, as you call it, I think,
yes,
it's like the library for all geological information in South Africa.
Very well, James.
But you're not only the library, you also write the books.
We also write the books, yes. So we publish information. We do geological education. The way we phrase it is we contribute to the advancement of the body of knowledge of geoscience. So we have strategic partnerships with universities and other institutions, geological institutions. And in fact, we invest a lot in the development of our staff. Almost 60% of our geological staff has masters and PhDs.
Wow.
We call them our knowledge generators. as a science council, it is important that we attract and retain the creme de la creme as scientists. And
that's an incredible asset these days.
It is.
Having access to so many geologists and people in that field.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes.
Wow. Yeah. And do you have a budget from the government? Are you funded by the government?
So we are funded by the state. And so there is a budget that is appropriated from the fiscus with the cycles of 3 years.
Okay.
But we have been now given an incredible challenge that to what extent can we use the intellectual property that we have elegantly to generate revenue to supplement the fiscus.
Yes.
We have not grown our fiscus as a country at the pace that is required to address our developmental requirements.
Yes.
And so, whereas I find that there is so much we want to do in geology, of course we are building, as I said, on what our forebears have done, but there's still a lot of things to be done for geology to be even more practical in application and impactful. And so how do I convince the fiscus that what I do is more important than health, than safety and security, than education and so on and so forth. So and so I've embraced this notion that we, to some extent, we could use what we know to begin to generate, monetize a little bit. And one of those things which obtains in legislation is that the legislation enables us to participate in the exploration phase,
right?
In partnership with the private sector.
That's
and
exciting.
This is something that we haven't done in a long time. So we have started piloting this model.
Great.
And so in the Junior Mining and Exploration Fund that we mooted, and it is the fund is managed by the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, and we provide technical support. So the IDC opens windows of applications for particular minerals. The prospecting right holders would apply. They'll go through the evaluations and so on, and when they emerge at the end, we provide a concessionary grant. So if nothing is found, the beneficiary doesn't owe anybody anything.
Right.
But if a discovery is made, the state can take up to 49%.
Wow.
Sure.
So
great.
Out of that,
then the state needs to give some of that to you.
Well, then you can offload a little bit. Then, no. Let's put it differently. I can relieve the state of the burden of funding the CGS a little bit. So you can imagine that if when you offload some of that equity and we find investors who will take that project into development phase, in any sense, the law does not allow us to participate in the mining. So we will have to farm out eventually.
Okay.
So in the process of farming out, of course, a lot will flow into the fund so that the fund can be sustainable. Okay. But some will have to go back into the fiscus.
It's like a reinforcing loop because it's
it's
a great model.
So ultimately, it will grow the economy. So that's the model we are now. We've just started to pilot. Of course, exploration takes a little bit of time, but I argue that if I came here today and I found a CGS that is based on what my forebears have done, I have a responsibility to leave a CGS that is even better.
Brilliant.
So that those who come after us will inherit a much better and much greater and much impactful CGS.
And that's a wonderful
Amazing.
story. Exactly, and how much further you're going to take it forward. And, you know, South Africa in particular, because obviously that's why we're here, is talking about that. But there's a lot of information, a lot of data over the years. But the other side of the coin is how big a gap do we still have? And how do we start to fill that gap of information in terms of what is actually here?
Yeah. So at a much larger scale, at a scale of 1 to million and 1 to 250,000, our forebears have mapped the whole country onshore. Now, in today's world, to do exploration, you need to be having geological information at a much finer scale. The 1 is to 50,000. And so about 10 years ago, we started this program. We convinced the state to invest in geology. And
It's almost like infill drilling, like fill the gaps now.
Yes. So you know, you're not starting from scratch. You're now filling in the gaps. And so we, in fact, at the end of the financial year that just ended in March, we had moved from almost 0% coverage 10 years ago, and we had 20%.
20% at that 50,000
Yes.
definition.
Yeah, we achieved 20% in
That's
10 years.
amazing.
We're moving at an incredible pace.
Sure.
And we adopted a more integrated geological mapping approach where we use not only, geologists, we go out with a hammer and identify the
Lick rocks.
and we spit and lick rocks and
Piss on it.
describe them. I love it, yeah. So now we go to the same area, we do geochemistry, we do geophysics and geological mapping, of course. Now, the other geological functions complement and provide answers, geological answers. And in the subsurface and the depth, application of geophysics has become even more important. I think into the future, geophysics will provide many of the answers that we could otherwise not be able to obtain. And so I think there's a much greater future in understanding the subsurface, the depth, the structure, and how it controls mineralization, understanding and uncovering new mineralizing systems. What we don't know much of is our marine geology. Offshore. And I think that the blue economy right under our noses is possibly an area that we need to focus on and balance it. And the timing is impeccable in that there's been a greater consideration for environmental stewardship in today's world. And so a balanced approach in mining in which we balance development and conservation. I find that in our beautiful land, we almost treat them as mutually exclusive. The developers would just focus on development at the expense of conservation. The environmentalist would say, we don't want to see
development.
We don't want any development. And I don't know what the world will be like without development. But can development just destroy everything environment? I don't think so. And I think in today's world, technology can begin to answer those questions. As researchers, we exist to provide objective scientific answers into subjective societal questions. Now, if society is worried about environmental preservation and conservation, that must define the research question. So that we can undertake research, we can develop technology that will begin to respond to that societal question.
So are you saying that it's a good thing that we are starting to explore the oceans now and not 100 years ago, because if we did, we probably would have stuffed it up worse than we will now.
I think so, yes. But I think
That's
the
good.
timing is impeccable.
There's certainly a lot of interest in subsea mining at the moment.
There's a lot, yes.
We see a lot of it coming up in our customer base. And more and more people are looking. If I think about 20 years ago, the first people were starting to scratch around undersea mining around PNG and those types of places.
Correct.
And nothing has come of it, I don't think.
Well, traditionally we've done diamond mining.
You have, yes.
Yes.
A lot.
So there's been a lot of focus on diamond, but we are now looking at other minerals. We think there is a suite of other lucrative minerals to be obtained. But you've got to do that in a way that will not compromise the environment. And I think we are ready now to move into that space.
That's encouraging. Yeah. That's very encouraging. Tell people a little bit about South Africa's mineral wealth. You're in a great position to comment. You're like the librarian right at the top that have read all the books. So just summarize for people who don't appreciate just how much mineral wealth South Africa's been blessed with.
And it's a difficult one to put a figure on, but this is how I normally put it, that in the past 150 odd years of formalized mining, I think we have just begun to scratch the surface of mining in this country.
Wow.
I don't think we have begun to mine yet.
Gee.
We are an incredibly blessed nation.
Incredible.
I think that, and I'm glad that the government has now redirected a bit of resources into geological investment. Because you've got to start with understanding what you have. Because when you know what you have, then you can manage it.
Make plans. Yeah.
You can make plans. And you can manage it efficiently. And so increasingly as we do the work and building on the journey we are traversing, or geological traverse, I'm thinking that there are existing mineral systems that we relaxed, because if you look at the Wits Basin where gold was, it is so vast and it is exploited and it is understood to some extent. But I think we started to relax because we have not firmed up that mineralizing system as well as we could. The Bushveld igneous complex, where the platinum group metal and
the chromite
and the chromite and others, I have a team of geophysicists, and Dr. Janine Cole has done some incredible work of geophysics that is going to change the way we have understood the Bushveld igneous complex, and it's unraveling even greater potential into the future. I want to argue that we have not begun to understand the mineralizing systems that obtain in the Northern Cape in particular. I think that the copper mineralizing systems in the Northern Cape extending into the neighboring countries, we have not begun to have an appreciation of that. It's
amazing.
It's an incredible time to be a geologist today.
Incredible.
When the world is made commitments to transition into low carbon economy and net zero commitments, that brings with it a whole new demand for a new set of minerals. And the world would be looking to geologists as pathfinders to make those discoveries. And of course, other skills base that will take those developments. We only make discoveries. We don't know how to mine.
Yes.
We don't know how to do other things. So,
but I'm so glad that you're sitting with us today, because there is a perception that, and you look at mining in Africa,
yes,
that really South Africa's done. You know, the guys have mined all of it, most of it over the years. The gold is gone. It's deep now, and it's becoming difficult. That investors are really almost overlooking South Africa and going, where else should we look? So it's very interesting that you say that we've only started to scratch the surface. I love that.
Yeah.
Numbers that I read the other day, and I'm not going to get exactly the numbers, but they say nearly half of the gold mined in the world was mined from South Africa.
Correct.
Right, historically.
Yeah. Correct.
And then we have something like our biggest export in South Africa, single biggest export from a rand value, is platinum.
Correct.
Yeah.
Second biggest, gold.
Yes.
Third biggest, trucks or something, I think. And then trucks and cars, and then it's chromite and coal.
Yes.
Or some I can't remember exactly the sequence, but we sit on still 60 or 70% of the world's chromite reserves. Manganese reserves. Manganese is going to become it's going to become big in the energy transition.
Energy storage, yes.
And same with platinum.
Correct. Correct.
So we still have a lot.
Yes.
It's not all gone.
No. We have rare earth elements. We think we have lithium that we have just started to get into. And I know there's a mine that's to open, funded by the IDC, for tantalum.
Wow, in South Africa?
Yes, in the Northern Cape.
It's the first I've heard of tantalite being tantalum here.
It would be so much nicer than having to go to the Congo.
And I can testify to that. I can testify. But, and so I wanted to ask a different question. So, I mean, with all your whole team and all the work we've done here in South Africa,
right?
And from a continent perspective, I mean, it's so untapped. I mean, how are we helping to lead ways into Africa that our neighbors and our other friends within Africa can start to do the same? Or is there a gap there between what we've done and where they are currently? And how do we close those gaps?
Yeah. So you're quite right, Graham. We in the geological community, my team and I looked at the investment in geology in developed economies, the OECD nations, as well as the African continent. It's astonishing differentials. In the OECD countries, they invest on average $65 per square kilometer. And in Africa is less than 5 US dollars. So you can see the gap that needs to be closed. So we have not begun to understand the geological potential that this continent has. And so there was a structure created for geological surveys of the African continent. It's called the Organization of African Geological Surveys. We are in a fortunate position of being the permanent secretariat of the structure. Its presidency now rotates on a 3-year tenure. Our current president is Uganda. New president. In the past 6 years, we had a lady from Ivory Coast who had been our president. And what this structure is doing is it is bringing the geological surveys together so that we can assist each other to find mechanisms to close that gap. And sometimes our going to Uganda last year, for instance, as the geological community, got the geological authorities to have a much better appreciation of the value of geology. And our counterpart in Uganda is now in a much better position of being supported in order to do much greater geology there. And so we continue. It's a bit slow, but we would rather move slower and proper than the corollary.
Yeah.
So that gap we are closing.
Yeah.
Of course, not all. That's the average that I gave you. South Africa is in a much better position. I was quite impressed to see the Zambians investing $100 million in airborne geophysics to cover the entire country.
Yeah.
Kenya has done beautiful coverage of airborne geophysics. They've identified 1,000 targets from this exercise. So, and I think Namibia has done the mapping. We have worked with Namibia, and we have participated in programs for mapping in the continent, and our team has been in more than 50% of the African countries to do the mapping.
It's good to hear that the different countries' geological or geoscience organizations are working together a little bit.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
What was that group called?
OAGS,
OAGS.
Organization of African Geological Surveys.
Right.
And it's actually exciting to hear. I mean, at the mining in Durban, it was, this is Africa's time.
Yes.
And it's great to hear a story like this, because it really is going to lead to being Africa's time.
Yes.
And hopefully then, the investors themselves get to be able to actually see the amount of work and be able to pick up these, to be able to translate it not just to stuff in the ground,
Yes.
but into actual operations which create revenue and employment.
Yes.
And we internally sort of refer to the mining industry as a wedge. If you can imagine like a triangular wedge, and geology, exploration, mineral assessment, mineralogy, that we call the front end of the wedge. It's the sharp end, right?
yes.
And it's so important because if you don't have that, you're dealing with an instrument that's inefficient.
Yes.
Exactly.
And everything else follows from
Joins together,
what you do. If you don't invest in this tip,
Then nothing else happens.
nothing else comes.
Yes.
You've got to almost constantly sharpening that edge.
Correct. Correct.
We've also had a few discussions already around technology.
Yes.
So, and we heard about our forefathers and the work that they did many, many years ago. But
Yes.
how are you transitioning into the digital world and bringing in AI and being able to make this data maybe more rapidly available or assessed faster? I mean, is this something that you guys are also doing and investing in as well?
Yes, we are. I don't think we have much of a choice there. The digital transformation is inevitable. And so we are investing in, we've invested in I was tempted to call it a fleet of drones, but they're too few.
You can call it a fleet. It will be a
It's a
fleet.
small, it's an emerging fleet.
It will be.
So we have a few drones, and we use satellite data increasingly. Of course, geophysics is incredible, and for collection and processing of data, technology plays a very key role. And so we invest a lot in that, in softwares and systems and so on.
Tell me a bit about the data accessibility.
I was coming there. So one thing is the collection of the data, and then the data accessibility. There are two interventions I introduced in the past 5 years or so. The first one was to create a public information office, so that anybody who wants data, they can go to the public information office.
A physical place.
It's physical. It's an office.
Okay.
You can email it. It's info info@geoscience.org.za.
Info, you have to email it a question.
Can email a question.
Okay. And then somehow magically it will reply.
You will be amazed. I've got the most efficient public information office. They will respond to you with anything you need within 7 days.
Amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, their average in the past 2 years has been 3 days.
Wow.
I've been tracking it. That's the first one.
That's faster than our quotations department.
But then, of course, we also realize that we don't necessarily need to use old methods of interaction. So you need a hybrid method of information dissemination. We launched a data portal.
Okay.
3 years ago, and all our information is there.
Amazing. And is it publicly accessible?
Yes, you can go to our website, you go to the data portal, you can access the data there.
Wow.
In fact, I know of 2 heads of School of Geosciences who thought we made a mistake. So they downloaded it because they thought we were going
to retract it.
No. All the information that should be public is public. And then, of course, we have information that we must hold confidential.
Sure.
And that information is
behind the
wall and remains behind the wall for the duration of its confidentiality.
Well, that's huge progress in itself. I mean, the fact that 3 yeyears ago, you've got a portal now that people can engage with. They don't have to go to an office. They don't have to email someone.
Yes.
They can. Do you create an account or something, and then you
register there. You create an account, and if it's data that we are selling at a nominal, most of it is free, but some we sell at a nominal fee, and you can pay there.
You can download it and
download and pay and do your thing.
Amazing.
From anywhere in the world. But that's
very helpful.
This year at the Indaba, we launched a virtual core library. So we invested in the hyperspectral scanner. So we have a lot of core that has been collected over the years, and
it's in storage somewhere.
Yeah. So we have a core library in Pretoria. So, but the hyperspectral scanner, we scan the core, and so the digital imagery, you can go and view that from anywhere in the world as part of.
And it's tagged according to its location and all that.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes.
So hey, it sounds like a big job for a few graduates to scan all those scores.
Well, we're still scanning. we are still scanning. I need an army of people who scan. And of course, you can. We also, when you're scanning, it's not only the natural colors that you can rotate and confirm the log. If you want your geologist from Australia or Canada or somewhere in Egypt to have a look, they can go onto the website, look at that core and rotate and do whatever.
That's crazy.
And some preliminary chemistry analysis is there that they can corroborate their.
You've been hard at work the last 10 years.
Yeah. I did say my team has been incredible. My team has been doing good work.
And I mean, I can hear the passion in how you talk. And one thing we didn't ask you was your background and why you have such a passion for geology and for this work.
You worked at De Beers, I saw.
I did, yes. I was very fortunate. Of course, when I was a young man growing, we didn't know much about geology. So while I was at VET, came across Anglo-American was then looking for creating this was leading up to democratic dispensation. So I think the Anglo-American, there's a company wanted to invest in creating a critical mass of black professionals. And so I was quite fortunate to have landed a bursary from Anglo-American at the time.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise we wouldn't have had you.
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's where it started. So I studied geology through Anglo. I cut my professional teeth at Anglo De Beers. I've been fortunate to have been exposed to that level of professionalism in geology. But there came a time when I thought, I think I need to go and serve my country directly. And I had a plan that I will do this for 2 years.
Okay.
It's been a very long 2 years.
Well,
Very long 2 years.
Well, please add another 2 short years because the work that you've done so far is phenomenal with your team. And if at the rate that you're going, I mean, you're going to definitely re-highlight what South Africa has as a real asset.
It is.
And also then the work with our neighbours and the rest of the continent to grow what we really have here. So that
I'm sure a lot of what you're doing, you can teach some of the African countries.
We're having these conversations, and you put it well, Graham, that if indeed we're entering an era of an African time, that geology will play a critical role in realizing that African era.
You touched on it a little bit earlier, and we've only really spoken around the work up front, so the geological work identifying these areas, but there's an element of ESG involved as well, which is communities.
Yes.
And are you involved in helping to also bridge the discussions around communities and where they are? Or does that fall within your scope as well?
So when we went through this whole strategic reorientation of the organization, we took a deliberate position to implement it through an effective communication and stakeholder engagement. So we place a premium at community engagement. So it opens doors for the scientists.
Yes.
So we've created a team to lead our stakeholder engagement program, and I go myself to many of these sessions where I can, because you can't do geology from the office, you do it from the land.
Yes.
You have farming communities, you have traditional land authorities, and then you have privately owned land and state-owned land. You can't just rock up and say, I'm going to do geology. So
People will shoot you.
Well,
You got to get past the big dog and the electric fence first.
Especially if you're going to be in the Northern Cape.
yeah. So we really place a premium at that. So we engage all of these structures and the communities and so on for the purposes of geological mapping.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if there were to be any mining and development that happens, that falls outside of our scope of responsibility. But I can argue that ESG can only be effective when this information is made available, not only to the developer, but also to ordinary members of society.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a role that we need to increasingly pay attention to. ESG is absolutely critical in development, and I think anybody who ignores it, they will ignore it at their own peril.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me, when the more I hear about what you do, and I must say I came in not having much of an idea really of the scope of what you do at CGS. The more I hear about the good work that you're doing, the more I'm starting to think we as an industry must get behind you. So here's your chance. What is it that the broader mining industry can do to help the good work that you're doing, to help make you do it faster, make you do it more efficient? Are there people out there sitting on data that you don't have, that's not in your library, that they can push to you?
Yes.
If you had to appeal to the broader mining industry, what is it that we can do to help?
I think the data is one of the critical missing links. I do think that because there is a level of mistrust between government and business, when we drafted the regulations for data management, in particular legacy data, we were met with mixed reactions. Some data holders stepped forward and said, "We've been waiting for you to do this." And I'm even saying that because I understand the value of that data, I think the state can carry the burden of the cost of collecting that data
and keeping it safe.
Curate it. Because if it's in the hands of the Council for Geoscience, it will be there into posterity.
But if it's on someone's hard drive or if it's in someone's
library, when they're liquidated or whatever, or they move office, it's gone. But there are some members of business who were and some still are quite reluctant to cooperate.
Back.
Yes. If there's any plea I can make is that your data will be safe in the Council for Geoscience, and that our data policy is geared to differentiate what data we put out in the public and what data must be protected given the commercial sensitivities. Because we cannot undermine, we have a responsibility to protect the sanctity of investments. Otherwise, we'll create chaos.
Sure.
And it's not in anybody's interest to create chaos. So if there was one plea I would make is if the members of the business sector who have had any concerns around the safety and of their data, that they can give us the benefit of the doubt. We take pride in establishing a truly capable state institution that exists to serve. And that the business, if they can have an appreciation that the Council for Geoscience is here to serve them too. They are equally our very important stakeholder. And we are available, I'm available, and if there are any points of clarity that they seek, they can reach out. My details are out in our website.
Great. Well, we'll make that appeal. And are there specific types of data that your scope or your library is interested in? Is it really just things like core data, or what about operational data? What about mineralogical data, like data about processing of minerals? What type of information specifically would you like for people to bring back?
Primarily geological data.
Okay.
So
core logs,
even the core itself, if it's no longer, it's, I suppose for the business, core has a shelf life. So the business owners would know that this core's shelf life for their purposes is coming to an end. they can open their core libraries for us to scan the core. And we don't necessarily have to come and take the physical core. Because when you have digital core imagery, then the storage is forever. Yes.
Amazing.
One of the big things, as I said to you earlier when we were chatting, is James loves to teach.
Yes, I can hear the passion in the teaching.
And we really want to encourage young school leavers who are going into the industry to ultimately land up with a passion like you.
Yeah.
What would you say to them if they weren't sure where they wanted to go?
Yeah.
Why they should be going into geology, geoscience, and ultimately become a scientist with your team one day?
Yes.
You know, what should they be doing? Why should they be doing that?
Well, earlier I was talking about the time for geologists being now. You know, when I started my career, geologists were at the back of the queue of importance in society. I think increasingly, a geoscientist's role is becoming absolutely important, and I know that we have had an era where young graduates could not find jobs. And it created an impression that there's an oversaturation of geoscientists. I think what was the real challenge was us creating geological programs. I think given the scope of work that we have to do as a country and the continent, I think we need a lot more geoscientists in society. After all, geology has applications not only in mineral development.
Of course.
It's got applications in infrastructure stability. You know,
Water.
And groundwater, infrastructure, environment, health, agriculture. When ESCOM was applying for the extension of the Koeberg power station, we were tasked to do a probabilistic tsunami and seismic model, so that we can provide the assurance that we will not experience what Japan experienced about 10, 15 years ago. That we can provide for public confidence that a power station in South Africa, where it is located, and in the event that there are other nuclear power stations we want to consider, that there is an element of safety in respect of seismicity and likelihood of tsunamis. I was very proud when I saw Koeberg being extended after we have done that work for them. Of course, it is something that we did with our international experts and in the fields.
It's been a hell of a story today, and I think those words to any young school leaver or someone who's in university is just reaffirmation that there is a spot for them, and this is they're gonna become the wedge, the front nose of the wedge. So we look forward to that, and the same on the work that you are doing on the Platte Reef. I hope that you will allow us here on the Mining Pulse to share that, because I think that's very exciting. So I think this is only the start of our journey, and being able to tell more of your journey, your team's journey, and the great work you're doing across the African continent.
Thank you very much.
So this has been a phenomenal start to, I think, a long relationship and a beautiful story to come for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you.
We want to share thank you to our sponsor of this episode, Africa Mining IQ. And to you, our listeners, thank you for joining us on the Mining Pulse. Don't miss a single beat of the industry's critical readout. Subscribe to The Mining Pulse now on YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Please leave your comments as they help shape the conversations we're having right here on The Mining Pulse. Stay tuned for the next episode as we continue tracking the heartbeat of Africa's mining industry. Stay sharp, stay informed, stay on the pulse.